This really happened to me 5 years ago. I was 17, just an ordinary senior, trying to get through my last year at Ridgeway High. Our school wasn't old, but it felt old. The hallways always smelled like disinfectant and dust, and the ceilings hummed with those flickering fluorescent lights that made your eyes ache if you looked up too long. On Tuesdays, the janitor would mop after classes, and the echo of that mop slapping tile floors was something every student recognized. That day, a gray November afternoon, I stayed behind for detention. It was just me, a girl named Lena, and Mr. Halverson, our vice principal. The reason I was there was stupid. Late homework and a sarcastic comment in class. Lena was there for skipping gym. Mr. Halverson locked the classroom door behind him. Standard policy, he said, and told us he'd be back in an hour. We were in room 213, the old art room that had been temporarily shut down for remodeling since last year. They only used it now for extra storage, or apparently, detention overflow. The first thing I noticed was the smell, like old paint and something faintly metallic. Lena wrinkled her nose. "Smells like blood," she said half-jokingly. The windows were sealed shut with layers of tape from when they'd repainted them years ago. Dust lay thick on the sill. There was no clock on the wall, so we had no real sense of time. At first, we just sat in silence. Then Lena started whispering, nervously, about what she'd heard. Rumors that a girl had died in that room before we were born. A freshman. An accident. They said she'd been cleaning brushes with turpentine when something sparked and Lena stopped mid-sentence. There was a noise, a scratch, long and slow, coming from inside the art supply closet at the back of the room. I remember laughing, that shaky, fake laugh you do when you're trying not to freak out. Probably a rat, I told her. We ignored it for about 10 minutes. Then came another sound, not scratching, knocking. 3 slow knocks. Lena looked at me. Her face was pale. Did Mr. Halverson come back? No. The hallway was dead silent. We both stared at that closet door, a thin metal thing with a wire-reinforced window, so cloudy you couldn't see through. Then, something moved behind it. Just a shadow. But it wasn't human-shaped. The handle rattled. Lena screamed. I jumped up and shouted, "Who's there?" No answer. Just another metallic scrape, like something dragging across the floor inside. Then the lights flickered. Only for a second. But when they came back on, the closet door was open, and the room smelled worse, like paint thinner and burnt hair. We ran to the main door and tried to open it. Locked. We banged on it, yelled for help, even kicked it. Nothing. I pulled out my phone. No signal. That's when I noticed something strange on the wall. The old paintings stacked near the corner. They'd all been flipped around, as if someone had turned them to face the wall. All except one. It showed a girl sitting in that same art room, her face half finished, no eyes, no mouth, just a smooth, pale oval where her features should have been. And in the corner of the painting was the closet door, open. We didn't wait. We ran back to the main door and shouted until our voices cracked. When Mr. Halverson finally came back, he looked at us like we were insane. He said we'd only been in there 30 minutes. To us, it felt like hours. We told him what we'd seen, or thought we saw, but when he checked the room, the closet was empty. No smell, no painting. He told us to go home, said we were feeding off each other's anxiety. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that faceless girl sitting in the art room. And then, 2 days later, Lena didn't show up to school. They said she'd run away, but I saw something no one else did. In the senior hallway, taped to her locker, was a painting, her likeness, sitting in that same art room chair, with no face. I tried to forget. Graduation came and went. I left Ridgeway, went to community college, worked at a coffee shop, but nightmares followed me. Always that same girl in the painting, sitting there, waiting. 3 years later, I came back to Ridgeway to visit a friend who'd taken a janitor's job there. His name was Caleb. We used to skip class together. He was the kind of guy who laughed at ghost stories. I told him what happened that day in detention. He just smirked and said, "You want to see something freaky?" He led me through the back halls of the school, past the new art wing and into the old section, the part they'd locked up for safety violations. Room 213 was still there, door sealed, padlock rusted over. Caleb had keys. The smell hit first, stronger than ever. Turpentine, decay, dust thick enough to choke on. The art supplies were gone, but the walls, they were different. Someone had painted over them in layers. Faces, hundreds of faces, half finished, all blending into each other. No eyes, no mouths, just skin-colored ovals. Caleb said, "Dude, this wasn't here last month." We walked around the room, flashlights sweeping across the walls. When I reached the back corner, near the old closet, I saw something that froze me. The wall wasn't flush. It pulsed, just barely, like a heartbeat under plaster. Then I heard it again, that slow, dragging scratch. Caleb leaned close, tapped the wall with his flashlight. "Hollow," he said. He pressed harder, and part of the paint split open. There was another room behind the wall, a narrow space, maybe 3 feet wide. And in it was a chair. On the chair sat a figure. It looked human, but its skin was gray and stiff, like clay that had been baked. Its face, no eyes, no mouth, just smooth nothingness. Its hands were clenched around a paintbrush. Caleb whispered, "What the hell is that?" And that's when it moved. It lifted its head, slow and wrong. Its blank face turned toward us. I swear to God, I heard something inside my head. A whisper, like someone painting words directly into my thoughts. "She needs more faces." Caleb stumbled back, dropped his light. It went out. The sound of scraping filled the dark, not just from the wall, from everywhere. I ran. I don't remember reaching the exit. I just remember Caleb's scream, cut off mid-breath. They said he must have had an accident, fallen through rotted flooring. They never found his body. The school sealed the entire wing the next week, but sometimes when I drive past at night, I see lights flicker behind those dark windows. And last month, I got a package in the mail, no return address, just a single painting wrapped in brown paper. It was me, sitting in that art room chair, and my face was gone. The science wing. It's strange being back in a place that used to terrify you. 10 years after graduation, I found myself walking through the front doors of Ridgeway High again, not as a student, but as a substitute teacher. I told myself it was just a job. I needed the money, and the regular science teacher, Mr. Dobson, had gone on medical leave. But the moment I stepped inside, that familiar humming started again. The same electric buzz of those dying fluorescent lights, the smell of bleach and pencil shavings, and something else, a faint chemical scent I remembered from the old science wing. Metallic, sharp, like burnt wires and iron. The principal, Miss Heller, greeted me with that fake warmth administrators always have. She handed me a key and said, "You'll be in Lab 4B. It's been closed a while, but maintenance cleaned it up." I froze. Lab 4B. That was the same room where, in my senior year, a student named Evan had disappeared. The official story said he ran away. But those of us who were there knew better. There'd been rumors of an experiment gone wrong. He'd been working late on some chemistry project, and by the time the janitor found his station, all that was left was his shoes. The floor had been eaten away, like acid had burned through the tiles. They sealed the lab for safety reasons soon after. Now, 10 years later, they'd reopened it. When I unlocked the door, the smell hit me. The same metallic tang, stronger now. Inside, everything looked off. All the tables were bolted down. The windows were fogged, like condensation had built up from the inside. And on the floor, faint scorch marks, circular patterns like something had been dragged. I tried to laugh it off. I told myself the place just needed air. But the moment I turned on the lights, the far right corner flickered and I saw something written on the wall in dark, faded letters. He's still reacting. The first few days went by quietly. The students complained about the smell, but otherwise, class went on. Then strange things started happening. A beaker would roll off a table, even though no one had touched it. A faint buzz in the air, like static, would make everyone's hair stand on end. And sometimes, just for a second, I thought I saw something in the glass of the lab windows, a reflection that wasn't mine. One evening I stayed late grading papers. The janitors had already gone. Outside, the wind howled through the vents. And then, from the supply closet, came a drip, steady, slow, like water hitting metal. I thought maybe a pipe had burst, so I went to check. But when I opened the closet door, everything was dry. The drip kept going, only now it sounded like it was coming from inside the sink. I turned the faucet handle. Nothing. The pipes throbbed under my hand, like something was moving inside them. Then, the metal drain shifted, bulged almost, and something pushed up through it. At first, I thought it was a chemical reaction, bubbles or corrosion. But then the shape grew taller, twisting, forming what looked like a hand made entirely of translucent slime. It reached for the edge of the sink. I stumbled back. The air in the room went hot, then freezing. The lights dimmed, and the smell, that same burnt metal odor, filled my nose until I gagged. The thing kept rising, a silhouette forming behind it, vaguely human, but its face was nothing but liquid light. Through its shape, I could see the tables and shelves bending, melting slightly, as if reality itself was warping. Then it spoke, but not in words, in a voice that hit directly inside my skull. He never stopped reacting. I ran. I don't even remember unlocking the door. By the time I reached the parking lot, my hands were shaking so hard I couldn't start the car. Behind me, through the fogged-up lab windows, I saw that same flickering light, pulsing like a heartbeat. The next morning, I told Miss Heller everything. She smiled politely, said maybe I was tired, overworked. But when I asked about the sealed records, about Evan, her smile froze. She said, "That student was never enrolled here." That's when I knew something was very, very wrong. I quit that same day. But 2 weeks later, I got a package at home. No return address. Inside was a glass beaker, filled with something cloudy and faintly glowing. And taped to it was a note, "Reaction ongoing. Please observe." I threw it in the dumpster. The next morning, it was back on my kitchen table, cracked and empty. The auditorium. When I got hired as Ridgeway High's new night security guard, I thought it would be easy money. Walk the halls, check the locks, keep an eye out for kids breaking in, nothing more. The principal said most of the school was closed after dark, especially the old wings. The art building and science labs had been sealed for renovation. Only the auditorium was still technically open, used sometimes for after-hours rehearsals. She gave me a ring of keys and a walkie-talkie. "Don't go exploring," she said, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "There are sections of this building best left alone." At first, everything was fine. The halls were silent, my footsteps echoing off tile and concrete. Every door I passed was locked, every classroom dark, until I reached the auditorium. The door was slightly open, just an inch. Inside, the air was colder. The stage lights were on, soft, golden, steady. shining down on an empty stage. There was no one around, no sound system on. The control booth was locked tight. I called out, "Anyone here?" Nothing. Just the soft hum of electricity. Then the curtain moved. Not much, just a ripple, as if someone was standing behind it, breathing. I walked closer. The smell of dust and old wood filled the air. When I reached the stage, I saw something I'll never forget. In the center of the wooden floor was a single folding chair. On it sat a tape recorder, old and gray, already running. It was playing something, a soft, whispering sound, too low to make out. I bent closer and pressed rewind by instinct. The tape word clicked, and then a voice crackled out, faint, desperate. "She's still painting them. Don't let the light hit the wall." Static. Then another voice, calmer, slower. He never stopped reacting. And then, silence. I froze. Those words, I'd heard them before. They were from the Ruhr's, the art room, the science lab. Before I could eject the tape, the stage lights flickered. Then, for just half a second, they went out. When they came back on, there was someone sitting in the front row. It was a woman, pale, motionless, her face shadowed. I thought maybe she was a teacher who'd stayed late, until she stood up. She moved wrong, like her joints didn't quite bend the way they should. I called out, "Ma'am, the school's closed." She stepped closer, into the light, and I saw her face, or rather, I didn't. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth, painted skin. I stumbled back onto the stage. The curtain behind me rustled again, louder this time, like breathing. I turned and saw shapes pressing against the fabric from the other side. Dozens of them, silhouettes of people, students, teachers, maybe both, and they were moving. The woman in front began to melt. Her body shimmered, dripping like wet paint. Her faceless head tilted toward me, and from somewhere deep inside her came that same voice from the tape. "We are all one. We are all reacting." The curtain tore open. Behind it, the entire back wall of the stage was covered in paintings, hundreds of them, every one showing a different part of Ridgeway High. Hallways, classrooms, lockers, but warped, decayed, alive. And in every picture, people were sitting in chairs, faceless, staring toward the painter. In the center of the wall was something else, a mural, unfinished. It showed the auditorium, the exact same stage I was standing on. And there was a figure in it, a man holding a flashlight. My flashlight, me. As I watched, a paintbrush stroke appeared on its own, across the wall, filling in my face, erasing it. I dropped the light and ran for the exit. The doors wouldn't open. Every handle I tried turned to mush, melting under my hand like warm clay. The whispering filled the air again, echoing off every surface. Not one voice, but many, familiar ones. The art room, the experiment, the reaction. Now, the performance. The stage lights flared white, and for a moment I saw everyone. Lena, Evan, even Caleb, the janitor, all sitting in the front rows, perfectly still, their heads tilted toward me. The tape recorder clicked one last time. Every subject returns to the source. Then the world bent. The next thing I remember, I woke up in the nurse's office. Daytime, sunlight through the blinds. The principal told me I'd had a panic attack. Said I was found lying on the stage floor. But when I got home, there was a new voicemail on my phone. The timestamp said it was recorded at 2:43 a.m., the exact time I'd been in the auditorium. The message was full of static until the end when a voice whispered, "Encore."